Hello! You might not even recognise me anymore because it's been so long since I filmed anything, but I'm back. August was such a busy month, I just had to take a little bit of time off. Now September's back, I'm back into my routine and I'm ready to make videos again and I'm really excited. However, I'm actually starting off with a bit of a negative video and I don't do these all too often, but if I'm honest, August was a crap month for reading for me. I read quite a lot, but almost everything I read was so disappointing. There were so many books I gave up on, loads that I thought I was going to love and liked but didn't love as much as I thought I would, things that didn't live up to the hype. It just seemed like August was cursed for me and almost every book I picked up just really wasn't hitting the mark for me at all. So, to celebrate the end of August and the end of, hopefully, my bad luck with books, I've decided to make a video talking about a few of the disappointing books that I've read over the last few weeks. There are 4 books in particular that I'm going to talk about in this video, and while I didn't enjoy them, almost all of them have got really positive reviews elsewhere, so obviously this is just my opinion. Just search for the books on Goodreads and you'll see there's loads of positive reviews, so don't let my negative opinion put you off. So, the first book I'm going to talk about, I don't actually have a physical copy with me because it was a Kindle copy that I read, but it is Wikipedia by Chris Van Etten. I read this right at the end of July and reviewed it at the beginning of August on my blog. It was billed as a sort of new wave point horror. I don't know how many viewers will remember the point horror books, but I loved them when I was a teenager. They were sort of grown-up Goosebumps books. Just sort of really good teen slasher horror. Just really, really fun, really enjoyable. There were loads of them. And it looks as though they're trying to kind of bring them back, but having read the reviews for most of the ones that have been released so far on Goodreads, I don't think they're having quite the same effect they had the first time round. I think there's only 2 of them that have been released so far. I think Wikipedia is the second one. And when I first read about this, I was so excited. It went straight onto my wish list. I couldn't wait to get it, to read it on my Kindle. It sounded really great. It was sort of horror mixed in with technology and it was like a modern horror. It sounded really, really good. It's about 2 friends who, as a joke, create Wikipedia entries for people that they don't like in their class. But then they start to discover that everybody that they put the Wikipedia entries for starts dying in the ways that they said they died in the entries. So then it becomes a bit of a mystery why that's happening, what's causing it, etc. So I thought it sounded really fun. Unfortunately, I was really, really disappointed by this. The main character is just so dull, it's impossible to even root for him. His friend is just, I think he's supposed to be this sort of sarcastic, sassy character, but he's just obnoxious. It's just so unlikable. There's like a kind of weird love triangle involved, but I couldn't even sum up the energy to care. It was like, I just felt like I was reading a first draft. It just wasn't good. It wasn't scary. There were some bits, like some of the deaths were quite gory, but there was nothing in there to creep me out. I did plough on to the end, but by the time I got to the end to find out who was behind everything, I'd just given up caring. The ending was weird as well. The last couple of lines are slightly ambiguous, a little bit, and I just don't really know. It just wasn't for me. Wasn't for me at all. I was so disappointed because I love horror and I'm always so excited when there's a new YA horror released because it doesn't happen very often. But no, this one was not for me. So, next up, anyone who reads my blog, this is probably going to surprise you because I actually gave this a really positive review, but Dangerous Boys by Abigail Hass. This is very different to the other books on the list in that I did really, really enjoy it. I was just slightly disappointed by it. I think I'd probably hyped it up too much in my own head. Because I love Dangerous Girls so much, I was expecting Dangerous Boys to be as amazing. And while I'd say Dangerous Boys is quite amazing, it wasn't as amazing as I was hoping. So I was hoping this would be a 10 out of 10 and it was like a 7 to 8 out of 10. So I still definitely recommend reading this. It's really quick. It's pretty exciting. It builds up to a pretty shocking climax, just like Dangerous Girls did. So I still recommend reading it, but maybe don't go in with your hopes as high as mine were, because I was a bit disappointed. I was mostly disappointed by the characterisation in it. After Dangerous Girls, I felt like I got to know all of those individual characters really well, even though there were more of them in Dangerous Girls, so it's harder to flesh out more characters. There's really only 3 central characters in Dangerous Boys. There's our main character, Chloe, and 2 brothers who she's sort of mixed up with, Ethan and Oliver. Is that right? I hope that's right. My problem with Chloe is that there's just nothing really to make her particularly interesting. So she was fine, but I did have to look up her name before making this video because I couldn't remember it, which for me is always a telltale sign. Ethan, the younger brother who she's mixed up with, is just... It's like he's been written to be a hero for teenage girls, but he's so dull and overprotective and clingy and needy and just... no. Then his older brother, bad boy Oliver, is literally like bad boy 101. He's really smart, but he's really sly, but then he's so attractive. And it's just, I don't know, I just felt like they were 2 really weak characters. There was nothing to differentiate them from like the traditional hero and the traditional bad boy. So they didn't really work for me. There's a sort of the central mystery is, and this isn't a spoiler because it says it on the back cover, there's been a fire and one brother makes it out and one brother doesn't. And by the time we found out which brother it was, I actually realised I didn't care which one it was because they were both so dull. I was happy for both of them to die in the fire, to be honest. But, like I said, despite my character issues, I did really, really enjoy this one. So do pick it up, just don't expect it to blow you away as much as Dangerous Girls did. Then, book number 3 is probably not going to come as much of a surprise to you guys if anyone's been following me on Twitter or reading my blog. I present book number 3, Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. What a surprise. Now, this is a massively polarising book. Almost every review I've seen from US bloggers is really positive. They absolutely loved it. What I've seen from the vast majority of UK bloggers is that we really, really didn't get it. I don't know if this is a cultural difference. I just thought it was really interesting that US bloggers loved it. Almost all 4 and 5 star reviews. UK bloggers, I haven't seen many people actually make it to the end of this book because as a whole we seem to have just despised it so much. And it's really strange, I haven't seen a book that's that split. On Goodreads it's got a really high rating, so as I said at the beginning of this video, there's something that we're obviously not getting that other people are, because other people are loving it. We just all seem to be hating it. In the interest of full disclosure, I didn't finish this book. I made it this far. Oh, this far, you can't really see. I made it to the beginning of chapter 6, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. I've written quite a long review over on my blog about all the reasons why I didn't like this. I ended up caving to pressure and agreeing to read it. I should have just stuck to my guns. I knew it wasn't my kind of thing, and the story just isn't my kind of thing. But the story is not really what I had a problem with, because I knew I wasn't really going to like the story, so that wasn't a surprise to me. The main character is just such a bitch. Unamused face. No, it's not working for me. I just want to read you one quote, which is the one that made me think, like, oh, hell no, I cannot carry on with this without ripping this book in half. Story time. Allow me to read a little extract. I tapped my cup to his, grateful to have found Sean, because for a minute there, I'd thought I was going to have to save myself. Perish the thought. Instead, I'd wandered into the protective care of a sexy older man. Black Ice, ladies and gentlemen, did not finish. Okay, and the last book on the list, I'm actually still partway through reading this, so I may get further through and it may turn it around and I may love it. But so far, these are my initial impressions. And I decided to include this because it's a book that's been talked about a lot. It's been hugely hyped by everybody, but now the reviews are starting to come out. They're really mixed. So I thought I'd just weigh in with my 2 cents. It is The Iron Trial, Book 1 of the Magisterium series by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. This is probably one of the biggest releases of the year. It's 2 huge authors putting their names together and coming up with a new fantasy magical series. Sounds like it could be great. I decided to read and review this one. It's not my standard read at all. It's a bit younger than I usually read. I'm not a huge fantasy fan. As you can see, I'm only about a third of the way through, maybe a bit less. So these are just my feelings on the first third. This could well change by the end, but I'm not sure. I don't want to just rehash what everybody is saying and talk about Harry Potter, but it's kind of impossible not to. When I first read the premise, I was like, oh, okay, sounds similar to Harry Potter. And I kind of decided in my head that I was going to just try and forget about that and just read it just as a bog standard book on its own. But the more I'm reading it, the more it is impossible to ignore that this really is quite similar to Harry Potter. Obviously, Amber from the Mile Long Bookshelf has written an amazing review of this book, which I suggest you go and read. I will link it in the down bar. And like she said, JK doesn't have dibs on kids going to a magical school, but I think after a book as huge as Harry Potter, if you're going to write about kids going to a magical school, you have to work hard to differentiate it. It might not be fair, but that's the way it is. And I think when I was reading The Iron Trial, what I've read so far, the mythology for me is just not very exciting. It's just, I am literally only persevering with this because it's got 2 huge names attached to it, and I feel like I should get through to the end so I can form a real whole opinion on this. If this was written by 2 unknowns, if I'm honest, if it was written by 2 unknowns and it hadn't been hyped by the publishers, I would have stopped reading it by this point. That is literally the only reasons that I'm carrying on. I think this has the potential to be amazing, but don't know what's going on because 2 such popular authors, I don't know how they can be so popular. I mean, I can't say that I think they're amazing because I haven't really read any of their stuff, but I don't know how 2 such popular authors could be put together and create something so bland. It's really weird. I don't know if it's their writing styles just aren't matching, if they're spreading themselves too thin, I don't know, but this is a finished copy. I thought this might be a proof when I started reading it because it's kind of messy and it's just not what I was hoping. So I've talked about this a lot, but that's how I feel. Disappointed. It's funny because I think this video has shown there are many different ways to be disappointed. I was even disappointed by Dangerous Boys, which I did really like, but I could still be disappointed by something but enjoy it. Just because you're disappointed in it doesn't mean it's total crap. Although definitely one of the books on this list, I would say, is reaching that territory. Yeah, I'm sorry my first video back is so negative, but I just feel like I need to purge my negativity, get it out in this video, and then September is a new month, and hopefully everything I pick up is going to be great. But I have to finish this first, so tell me, what books did you most enjoy reading over the summer? What I'm more interested in is which books you didn't enjoy reading over the summer, really. Have you read any of these 4? What did you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think my opinion is crap? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you all again in 2 weeks with a brand new video, which is hopefully much more positive. Bye-bye!